Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Imagine a special city placed in a perfect spot on Earth. This city was so important that if it was lost, the world as people knew it could change forever. For more than 1,000 years, one city stood at the center where big empires, religions, and different ways of life met. People simply called it the city because no other name was needed. This chapter introduces this ancient ground where powerful nations fought, and the story of the world was often rewritten. Today, this busy place is known as Istanbul, but before it had that name, it was called Constantinople. And before Constantinople, it was named Byzantium. If you dig only a few feet under Istanbul's streets, you can find parts of an old Roman road. Dig a little more, and you might see the remains of a Greek port. Even deeper, you could discover signs of people who lived there even before Rome was strong. History in this city is very deep, like many stories written one over another for almost 3,000 years. What secrets are hidden under modern Istanbul streets? These secrets hold the key to understanding 3,000 years of history. This small piece of land, jutting into the Bosphorus Strait, holds a great story. It is the story of big empires rising high and then falling down. It is about how faith and politics mix together. It tells of amazing cleverness and terrible destruction. This chapter will map out the rise of a tiny Greek port into a global superpower. Understanding this city, once called Constantinople, is not just about old history. It helps us understand how our modern world was formed. For example, it helps explain how Christianity split into two main parts. It shows how new ideas for art and science, called the Renaissance, began in Europe. It also helps explain how European explorers started their journeys to new lands, and it shows how the line between East and West was drawn. For more than 1,000 years, all important roads led to Constantinople. This city's amazing location, with seas on three sides, made it easy to defend. It also controlled very important trade routes, bringing it much wealth. But why did this perfect geographical location also make it the biggest target for every bloodthirsty army on Earth? 2. The first city. Long ago, a wise man named Byzantium wanted to build a new city. He asked a special priestess, an oracle, for advice. The oracle told him to build opposite the city of the blind. Byzantium thought about this strange message. He looked at the land across the water, where people from a city called Chalcedon lived. They had built their city on a less good spot, missing a perfect natural harbor right next to them. Byzantium decided these people were blind because they did not see the best place to build. So, in 657 BC, Byzantium chose the excellent spot. He built his city there and called it Byzantium. This new city was on a narrow piece of land that went into the sea, right next to the Bosphorus Strait. This strait was a very important water path between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Byzantium had a special curved bay that looked like a horn, which people called the Golden Horn. This bay was a natural harbor. It kept ships safe from bad weather and also from enemies. The sea protected Byzantium on three sides, making it almost effortlessly defensible. Because of its smart location, Byzantium quickly became a rich city. Ships from many lands came to its busy markets. People traded goods like cloth, food, and other valuable things. The city's immense wealth came from this trade, as it sat right on the main water roads. It was a place where merchants spent their time buying and selling at the harbor. This made Byzantium a bright jewel in the ancient world, known for its bustling commerce and strong defenses. The geography of the peninsula was truly clever, providing both safety and easy access to sea routes. For many centuries, Byzantium enjoyed a lively but sometimes difficult life as a Greek city-state. It fought some wars and made friends with different groups. Sometimes other powerful empires took control of it, like the Persians or the Macedonians under Alexander the Great. But Byzantium always found a way to become strong and prosperous again, thanks to its amazing location and important trade. Over time, it was absorbed into the growing Roman Republic and later the Roman Empire. By the beginning of the 4th century AD, the Roman Empire faced big problems. Years of civil war, a struggling economy, and attacks from many sides made it weak. Emperors came and went quickly, often dying in battle or from plots. Into this time of trouble stepped a strong and ambitious Roman leader named Flavius Valerius Constantinus, known as Constantine the Great. He won many fights and became the only ruler of the Roman world by 324 AD. He looked east and saw Byzantium. He saw its perfect location and its great promise for a new future. Constantine would soon have a bold plan to make a new, great Roman city, a new capital, right on top of this old Greek town, ready to erase everything and build a new world. 3. Strong walls and riches. Constantinople grew strong because of its amazing defenses. The most important were the Theodosian walls, a massive shield that protected the city from total destruction for over 1,000 years. These were not simple walls. They were a clever double set, finished under Theodosius II in 413. They had outer walls, inner walls, tall towers, and deep moats. The inner walls stood about 40 feet high, with towers adding another 20 feet. This incredible system stretched for 3.5 miles from the Sea of Marmara to the Golden Horn, making it an engineering marvel of its time. Many powerful armies tried to break through, like the Visigoths, Huns, Persians, Arabs, and Bulgars. But the walls were so formidable that they pushed back every attacker for centuries. These walls protected more than just the city. They protected the very idea of the Roman Empire, helping it continue. Inside these strong fortifications, Constantinople became incredibly rich. It was a lively center for global trade. Merchants from Venice, Arabia, Russia, and Persia filled its markets. Goods like silks, spices, jewels, and grain flowed through the city. Foreign traders paid the same taxes as locals, making Constantinople a unique place for business. The city's golden coin, the bezant, was like the main money of the medieval world. It was accepted from Ireland to India as a reliable standard of value. Yet a simple story also helped save the city from invasion. People deeply believed Constantinople was divinely protected by the Virgin Mary, who they felt stood guard over its walls. This belief was very powerful. For instance, in 917, the emperor's regent warned the Khan of the Bulgars. He said the Virgin Mary, as the city's commander-in-chief, would not like any attack. This spiritual belief was truly felt and seemed to work. Many times, attacking armies broke their attacks and withdrew before the city fell. However, even the thickest, most impenetrable walls cannot protect a city from an enemy that sneaks in from within.
A great leader and a big church. The city was in deep trouble. In the year 532, a very dangerous revolt started. It was called the Nika revolt. This trouble began with small fights between fans of different chariot racing teams, the Blues and the Greens, but it quickly grew into a full-scale uprising. Many parts of Constantinople were burning, and the city was filled with chaos. People were angry and destroying things. Sadly, about 30,000 people died in the streets. Emperor Justinian I was very afraid. He thought about leaving the city and running away to save his life. But his strong wife, Empress Theodora, stood firm. She told him he must not flee. She said she would rather die wearing her royal purple clothes as an emperor's wife than live as a common person who had run away. Her brave words gave Justinian new courage. He decided to stay and fight for his throne. His army then stopped the revolt with great force. The city was badly damaged, and the beautiful great church of Hagia Sophia had burned to the ground during the fighting. From the ruins and ashes of the Nika revolt, something truly amazing began to rise. Emperor Justinian decided to rebuild the city, especially its most important church. He wanted a new Hagia Sophia, meaning Holy Wisdom in Greek. His dream was for it to be the greatest Christian church in the entire world, a building that would show God's glory and the empire's power.
He hired two brilliant architects, Anthemius of Tralles and Isidore of Miletus. They worked hard, and the building was completed surprisingly fast, in just 5 years, by 537 AD. It was a massive and beautiful structure. The most special part was its huge central dome. This dome seemed to float high in the air, almost as if it was hanging from the heavens by an invisible chain. People at the time thought it was an architectural miracle, impossible to build without divine help. It was 31 meters wide and 55 meters high, dominating the city's skyline. When Justinian walked into the finished church for the first time, he was filled with immense pride. He is said to have cried out, "Solomon, I have surpassed thee." This meant he believed his church was even grander than the legendary Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem, which was once the most famous holy building. Hagia Sophia quickly became the most important symbol of Constantinople. Its unique design and impressive scale influenced many other churches and mosques built much later, from Greece to Russia. For almost 1,000 years, it served as the main center for the Eastern Orthodox Christian Church, standing as a marvel for all who saw it. While the city was rebuilding its glorious way up to heaven with such grand structures, a quiet but serious storm was beginning to brew. Deep inside the Christian churches, small disagreements were slowly turning into bigger problems. These were differences in language, traditions, and ideas about who held the most power between the Christian leaders in Constantinople and those in Rome. At this time, these issues seemed minor, but they would grow, leading to a great and lasting split that would change the Christian world forever. This silent storm was just starting, and its full power would soon be felt across the entire empire. The big split in the church. For centuries, Constantinople stood as a vital center of Christianity in the East. Yet a growing distance formed between the Christian leaders in Constantinople and the Pope in Rome. This separation was not a sudden event. It was a slow, difficult process that unfolded over many hundreds of years, causing a deep, festering quarrel. One significant reason for this divergence was language. The people in the East spoke Greek, the language of the Byzantine Empire. Meanwhile, in the West, Latin was the official language of the Roman Church. This language barrier meant that understanding between the two halves of the Christian world became increasingly difficult. Beyond language, there were also important disagreements about religious practices and beliefs. For instance, they argued over the true nature of the Holy Spirit and the proper use of religious images. Crucially, a major point of conflict was authority. The Pope in Rome believed he held the highest supremacy over all Christians. However, the Patriarch in Constantinople believed he was equal to the Pope. These were not just religious debates. They were also intense power struggles between powerful religious and political figures. These long-standing issues reached a breaking point in 1054. Representatives of the Pope in Rome and the Patriarch in Constantinople issued formal mutual excommunications against each other. This meant they officially declared that the other was outside the true Christian Church. This historic event is known as the Great Schism, and it created a permanent division. The Christian world was forever split into the Roman Catholic Church in the West and the Eastern Orthodox Church in the East. Constantinople proudly became the spiritual heart of Eastern Orthodoxy. The Great Schism left deep cultural wounds that still impact many modern countries. Nations like Russia, Greece, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Romania strongly identify with Eastern Orthodox Christianity, a direct legacy of Constantinople's powerful spiritual influence. This division was far more than a simple religious matter. It helped define the cultural identity and even the borders of entire civilizations. This bitter family feud among Christians, marked by centuries of rivalry and deep-seated differences, would tragically pave the way for a terrible future. It would lead a supposed holy army meant to protect the faith to commit an act that is still seen by many as the ultimate unforgivable sin against their fellow Christians. 6. The false friends. After the big split in the Christian Church, a terrible event happened that changed history forever. It was called the Fourth Crusade, and it started as a holy journey. This Christian army's first goal was to fight in Jerusalem and defeat the powerful Egyptian Sultanate. But things went very wrong from the start. The Crusaders needed many ships to travel to the Holy Land. They made a deal with Venice, a rich sea city, to build a large fleet. However, the Crusaders could not pay the huge amount of money they had promised for the ships. The leader of Venice, Doge Enrico Dandolo, was old and could not see, but he was very smart and known for his cunning mind in business. He offered the Crusaders a dark way to pay their debt. He asked them to attack other cities that were Venice's rivals. This led the Crusader army down a twisted path. Soon, These holy knights turned their weapons not against Muslims, which was their original holy mission, but against the greatest Christian city in the world, Constantinople. This was a huge act of betrayal by people who were supposed to be friends. In the year 1204, the unthinkable happened. Constantinople, which had stood strong for 900 years against many attackers, was brutally attacked and robbed.
It was not by its usual enemies, like the powerful armies from the east. It was by the Western Christian army of the Fourth Crusade. For 3 terrible days, the city suffered great devastation and damage. Countless important treasures were stolen or broken. These included beautiful artworks, holy relics, and old books from ancient times that had been kept safe for centuries. Many buildings, like churches, palaces, and public places, were destroyed by fire or badly damaged. Even the great Hagia Sophia, the magnificent church, was stripped of its gold and its holy objects. Priceless old bronze statues, like the 4 famous horses now seen in Venice, were taken away as war spoils. This systematic looting lasted for days. Centuries of accumulated civilization and preserved ancient knowledge vanished in a short time. After the city was captured, a new Latin empire was set up. Western crusaders from places like Flanders ruled Constantinople for 57 years. The Byzantines, the original people of the city and empire, had to leave or live under new foreign rulers. They slowly got their strength back from a place called Nicaea, where some leaders had fled to form a government in exile. In 1261, they finally took their capital city back. But the city they got back was not the same. It was only a shadow of what it once was. Much of its wealth was gone, and its power was greatly reduced. The city was left weak, bleeding, and stripped of its treasures and spirit. This terrible event made its final fall much easier for a new enemy that would rise later. This enemy was young and eager, waiting in the shadows to take the city for good. The wounds from 1204 were very deep and would never fully heal. Many Byzantines later said they would rather see the turban of the Turk than the mitre of the Latin Pope, showing how much the betrayal by fellow Christians hurt them. 7. The final battle. The young Sultan Mehmed II was just 21 years old. He dreamed of taking the great city of Constantinople. For many years, the city had been getting weaker. Now, Mehmed brought a powerful army and huge cannons to its famous walls. One cannon, made by a Hungarian engineer named Urban, was very big. It was 27 feet long and could throw a 1,300-pound stone more than a mile. 200 men and many oxen were needed to move this colossal weapon. On April 6, 1453, the siege began. The Ottoman army had between 60,000 and 80,000 soldiers. The city's defenders, led by Emperor Constantine XI, had only about 7,000 men. The giant cannons fired day after day. They made big holes in the Theodosian walls, which had stood strong for more than 1,000 years. Every night, the tired defenders worked hard with earth, wood, and stones to fix the damage. They showed great ingenuity in their desperate repairs. Then, on April 22, Mehmed did something very clever.
The Byzantines had put a strong chain across the Golden Horn Bay to stop enemy ships. Mehmed ordered his men to drag 80 of his ships overland. They made a path with greased wood for about 1 mile. The Ottoman ships moved from the Bosphorus Strait into the Golden Horn. When the city's defenders woke up and saw enemy ships inside their harbor, they were very surprised and scared. Their hope began to crack. This unexpected tactic shocked them. The siege continued for 55 days. The people inside the city were tired and afraid. On May 29, 1453, just after midnight, Sultan Mehmed started the last assault. Ottoman soldiers attacked the walls from all sides, from land and sea. Wave after wave of soldiers came, first irregular troops to tire out the city's defenders. Then the best soldiers, called janissaries, pushed hard against the walls, trying to break through. A small gate was found open. Ottoman soldiers quickly moved inside. The brave Genoese commander, Giovanni Giustiniani, who had defended the walls very well for weeks, was badly hurt. He left the battle. With him gone, the heart of the city's defense was lost, and the remaining defenders lost their courage. Emperor Constantine XI knew the city was falling. He took off his royal clothes, his imperial regalia, and fought like an ordinary soldier in the bloody streets. He died in the battle. His body was never truly found, only recognized by his special red shoes.
With his death, the long story of the Roman Empire, which had lasted for nearly 1,500 years, finally ended. The powerful walls had fallen. But what would happen to this holy city now? Its old religion and rulers were suddenly gone. A new time was beginning for the ancient city. 8. A new name and life. After the great city fell, Sultan Mehmed II did not just destroy, he wanted to rebuild. He planned a multicultural city. He brought Greeks from far away to help it grow again. He made sure the Greek Orthodox Church could still lead its people. He also welcomed Jewish people, who were asked to leave Spain in 1492. Mehmed called himself the Caesar of the Romans. This showed he wanted to continue the city's long and important past, not just end it. The city transformed from Byzantine to Ottoman, becoming a new center of power. This event had a huge impact on Europe and the world. Many Greek scholars ran away to the West, taking old books and knowledge with them. These ancient texts helped start a new period of learning and art in Europe, known as the Renaissance. Also, the new rulers of Istanbul closed the old land trade routes. Because of this, European traders looked for new ways to reach Asia by sea. This led to Christopher Columbus sailing to America in 1492, and Vasco da Gama finding a sea route around Africa to India. The fall of one city truly changed the whole world map.
Over time, the city kept changing. After the First World War, the Ottoman Empire ended. The new government of Turkey moved its capital to Ankara. In 1930, Constantinople was officially renamed Istanbul. Even this new name comes from Greek words meaning "to the city," showing how its long history is always present. Today, Istanbul is a busy, modern metropolis. Yet the legacy of past empires still lives in its streets and buildings. The city's story teaches us that even when empires fall, their spirit and influence continue in new ways.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like. write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world.